Congressman Don Bacon. He's with us to discuss the crisis in Ukraine. The congressman is a member of the House Armed Services Committee, and he served as a brigadier general in the U.S. Air Force. Congressman, we appreciate you sharing part of your weekend with us. Let's start with the comment at the end of President Biden's speech that Vladimir Putin cannot remain in power. The White House walking that back, saying that he was not talking about regime change in Russia. But do you see a scenario in which there is peace in Eastern Europe with Vladimir Putin still in power?
Well, good morning, first of all. Thanks for having me on. It'll be very difficult. President Putin is waging an unprovoked, unjust war, doing indiscriminate bombing. I think President Biden said something that a lot of us feel, but as a president, you have to have self-discipline and communications control. This is the third gaffe this week that the White House has had to walk back, or his staff. And so it's embarrassing for that. But the fact is, President Putin, his actions in Ukraine shows that he's willing to wage war against innocent countries, against his neighbors, and he's changed the security order. And we're in a new Cold War now. And it's hard to see how we're going to move on peacefully with Putin on this. So, President Biden said something that we're all thinking, but he needed to have more self-control.
Congressman, just a little over a week ago, you said the U.S. should not abandon Poland's proposal to transfer fighter jets, these old Soviet MiG-29s, to Ukraine. Walk us through your thinking here, the cost-benefit of providing Ukraine with these jets after the Pentagon declined to pursue that option.
Well, there's two things that Poland needs. First of all, it is better fighters. MiG-29s, they know how to fly them. We also need Su-25s, which are ground attack aircraft that allows Ukraine to hit the convoys and tanks and things like that. They also need better air defense systems, and they're short of both right now. And I think we should give Ukraine everything they need to defend their country, short of our own troops. I don't believe in sending in U.S. Servicemen and women into Ukraine, but when it comes to equipment, we should give them everything they need. And right now, Russia is indiscriminately bombing their cities. They're war crimes, in my view. And so better aircraft, but also air defense systems will help them defend their cities.
Given your expertise as a former military official, what do you make of the argument that the Ukrainians are just as well equipped with some of the on-the-ground air defenses that they have as opposed to these Soviet jets?
Well, the air defense, the surface air missiles are probably more important, especially in limiting what the Russian aircraft can do. Also helps them target some of their missiles as well. But you can't use surface air missiles to hit a tank or a convoy. You need aircraft to do that, or very precision-guided munitions, which are also short of. Now, I do think the administration did right by sending some of the drones there that also allow them to target these convoys. But now my goal is to help Ukraine repulse Russia on this. It's interesting. Putin thought he would have Kyiv in 3 days. Now it's gone on 4 weeks. And so we admire the fight in the Ukrainian people, but they do need more munitions and higher capable munitions. My biggest heartburn with the administration is they could have provided a lot of this before the invasion, but refused to do so. And that would have been a better timing, because then the Ukrainians would have had more time to assimilate it, train on it, and things like that. But we are where we are right now. MiG-29s and Su-25s would help them target these convoys, the tanks, and the supply lines. And that's what Ukraine needs right now.
The concern with providing Ukrainians with arms earlier was that perhaps that might have been a provocation for Vladimir Putin to act even before he did. I do want to ask you about a bill that you introduced that would require the Department of Homeland Security to review its cyber response plans, including for private sector operations. Obviously, there's a huge concern of a Russian cyber attack. How confident are you that the United States is prepared for one?
I'm not very confident. We know that we have a problem right now. When our private sector gets attacked, there's confusion in the federal government who has what responsibilities, and there's a lot of finger pointing going on. We saw that when the JBS meat processing plant was attacked. We saw that when the Colonial Pipeline was attacked, and they're paying this the ransom to get their computer systems back. I believe it's the federal government's role to help the private sector here. There's no private company that is strong enough or smart enough to counter the Russian government or the Chinese government when they do cyber attacks. It's going to take the NSA, Cyber Command, and the federal government to help advise and to provide some top cover for our companies. They can't do it on their own. And so this bill will instruct the federal government to come up with a plan how to support our private sector, but also like our infrastructure. The Russians are trying to embed themselves into our energy sector, and then at the right time, or when needed, they could just turn off the power in certain areas and create a ripple effect throughout our whole country. So the federal government's going to have to step up and do more here.
Congressman, you mentioned China, and I did want to get your perspective on the United States perhaps doing more to engage not only China in a more aggressive manner, but also India as well, two partners in Asia that have been at best reluctant to engage on bringing peace to Ukraine.
Well, there's no doubt that China is sympathetic to Putin right now. They're looking at what we're doing and the world's response, and they're going to look at how to respond. Well, their goal is to take over Taiwan at some point. So it's very important that we get this right with Russia, because China is looking at us and how we're going to respond when it comes to Taiwan. I do hope that India steps up more. It's very important that the two biggest democracies in the world, the largest democracy and the oldest democracy, in our case, work hand in hand to counter this aggression. So it's my hope that India will do more and step up. Though they have a long-term relationship with Russia, and they're more worried about China. So that's their quandary right now. But we need India to work with us.
And while we have you, Congressman, I hope you don't mind if I ask you about the news regarding one of your colleagues from Nebraska, Representative Jeff Fortenberry. He announced he would resign yesterday. He was convicted of concealing information and making false statements to investigators during a probe into illegal campaign contributions. What's your reaction to this news?
Well, I hate to see anybody make a mistake, do wrong, and whether it's a Republican or Democrat. He was convicted on 3 counts. I believe in our justice system, and I think Congressman Fortenberry did the right thing by resigning yesterday.
Anything else?
No, it's always regrettable when someone hurts their life and hurts their family, and so I wish Jeff well and his family well, and he's going to do the appeals. But I believe in the justice system, and the justice system spoke.
We'll leave the conversation there. Congressman Don Bacon, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it.